I never thought I'd poison my own code, but when Victor's voice slithered through that conference room door like a knife in the dark, promising to bury me alive for his sins, I realized mercy was for suckers who hadn't tasted real betrayal. By dawn, I'd rewritten the demo script, not to crash it, but to drag his rotting secrets into the light, pixel by damning pixel. And as the investors' eyes widened on those massive screens, I whispered to myself, "Welcome to the flip, asshole. This one's for every late night I covered your ass while you lined your pockets." It started 6 months ago, back when Apex Innovations still felt like a family, not the viper pit it turned out to be. I'm Remy Harlow, 28, the kind of coder who thrives on caffeine and chaos, the one who pulls all-nighters to debug the impossible while the execs sip kombucha and pat themselves on the back. We were this scrappy AI startup in the heart of Palo Alto, chasing the dream of revolutionizing predictive analytics for hedge funds. Victor Kane, our CTO, was the golden boy, mid-40s, sharp as a razor, with that Ivy League smirk and a Rolodex full of Silicon Valley ghosts. He hired me fresh out of a nowhere community college coding boot camp, saw something in my raw talent, or so he said. "Kid, you've got fire," he'd tell me over burritos at the food truck park. "Stick with me, and we'll light this place up."
Fire.
Yeah, right. More like he needed a fall guy, someone green enough to trust him blindly. Our big break came with Project Oracle, an algorithm that could sniff out market crashes before the suits even felt the tremor. I was lead dev on the back end, pouring my soul into it, tweaking neural nets until they hummed like a well-oiled engine. But 3 months in, things got weird. Victor started pulling me into late-night strategy sessions in his corner office, the one with the Eames chair and the view of the venture capital temples across the street. That's when he confessed the first lie, not a confession, really, more like a casual drop, testing if I'd bite. "Remy, we've got a glitch," he said one Tuesday, his tie loosened like we'd just shared war stories. The glitch wasn't code, it was cash. Turns out, Victor had been siphoning investor funds. Nothing huge at first, just enough to cover his gambling debts from the Macau trips he bragged about. A poker shark in the boardroom, our boy. But the books were bleeding, and the auditors were circling. "I need you to reroute some transactions in the ledger code," he murmured, sliding a USB drive across the desk. "Make it look like a rounding error."
Temporary fix.
You and me against the world, right? I should have walked. Hell, I should have run. But Victor had this way of making you feel chosen, like you were the only one who got the real game. And me? I'd grown up in the Rust Belt, Fresno trailer parks where dreams went to die under the Central Valley sun. Apex was my ticket out, my shot at the American hustle. So I did it. Buried the discrepancies in a subroutine, time-stamped it to an obsolete server log. For the team, I told myself, ignoring the knot in my gut. It was a mistake, sure, but whose wasn't in this town? We were building the future, after all. Ethics were for East Coast lawyers. The cover-up worked, or so I thought. Oracle launched beta, hedge funds bit, and suddenly we were the darlings of TechCrunch. Victor got his corner office upgrade, complete with a mini fridge stocked with single malt. I got a pat on the back and a promotion to senior dev, which meant more hours and the same crap salary.
But the debts?
They kept growing. Victor's tells were subtle, a twitch in his jaw during earnings calls, the way he'd ghost meetings for client dinners that smelled like desperation. I started noticing the patterns. Wire transfers vanishing into offshore ghosts, code commits from his IP that didn't match his alibis. By month 5, the siphoning had hit 6 figures and the noose was tightening. That's when the real betrayal hit. It was a Friday, golden hour bleeding through the blinds as the office emptied out for happy hour at the nudist. I was debugging a latency spike in Oracle's core. Nothing major, just the kind of gremlin that keeps you chained to your desk. Victor's office light was still on, door ajar because the latch was busted from that one time he slammed it during a VC roast. I heard voices, low and urgent. His and a gravelly one I didn't recognize, some fixer type, probably from the underbelly of Sand Hill Road. "The demos are Hail Mary," Victor was saying, voice like oiled gravel. "Investors fly in Monday, fat cats from Sequoia and Kleiner. If Oracle shines, we're golden. Valued at 2 bill easy. But if it tanks,
Poof.
company craters, I short the stock through my shell, buy back the scraps for pennies. You handle the offshore flip? The other voice chuckled, a wet, phlegmy sound. For 20%?
Yeah.
But what about the girl? Harlow? She's the one who buried your mess. Auditor sniffed that code. You're cooked. Victor paused, and I swear I could hear the smirk. Remy? Loyal little lapdog. I've got her on the hook, framed her commits as the leak if it goes south. She takes the fall, does her time in federal lockup for wire fraud.
Me?
I walk away a ghost, richer than God. By morning, the demo's rigged to blue screen mid-pitch. Chaos. My chaos. My blood turned to ice. Framed? All those nights, the trust, the you and me, it was a goddamn setup. I was the patsy, the disposable code Monkey meant to rot while he cashed in on our ruins. Hands shaking, I slipped out, heart pounding like a server farm overload. The drive home to my shoebox in Mountain View blurred through tears I wouldn't let fall. Betrayal like that? It doesn't just break you, it forges you into something sharper, meaner. By the time I parked under the sodium lamps of my complex, the plan was forming. Not rash, calculated. Victor wanted to burn it all down?
Fine.
I'd hand in the matches and watch him choke on the smoke. Saturday blurred into a frenzy. Coffee black as my mood, laptop glowing like a war room console. First, I audited my own sins, every commit, every buried line. The evidence was there, time-stamped to my GitHub fork, but sloppy. Victor had rushed it, too cocky to cover his tracks fully. I mirrored the repo to a burner drive, encrypted it with keys only I held. Then, the real work, infiltrating his sabotage. I'd seen him tinker with a demo script earlier that week, a flashy front-end in React, pulling live feeds from Oracle's predictions. He planned to inject a kill switch, a latent loop that'd cascade into failure under pressure. Child's play for him, but I'd been in his code garden longer than he knew. I didn't sleep. By 3 a.m., I'd reverse-engineered his backdoor, a simple if-then buried in the API calls. Instead of crashing, I'd repurpose it. When the demo hit peak load, it'd trigger not a blue screen, but a data dump. Every falsified transaction, routed through Oracle's own visualization layer. Charts of embezzled funds morphing into stock tickers of his offshore havens. His face projected on the investor screens, mid-smirk, with captions like CTO Kane, from innovator to insider thief. Controversial? Hell yes. The board would erupt, VCs would sue, and Victor? He'd be the villain in a viral TED Talk takedown. But doubt crept in with the dawn. Was this revenge or suicide? Exposing him meant exposing me, the girl who'd fudged the books on command. Feds don't care about sob stories. White-collar fraud's a one-way ticket to Club Federal. And Apex? 200 souls, coders like me who'd bet their 401k-s on the dream. Tank it, and I'd be the Grim Reaper in a hoodie. Victor's words echoed. Loyal little lapdog. Was I flipping the script, or just biting the hand that starved me? Sunday brunch at the office. Mandatory team-building bullshit. Victor holding court with his TED hair and anecdotes about disrupting disruptors. He clapped me on the shoulder as I loaded my tray with sad kale salad. Remy, demo's gonna kill it. You're the backbone. His eyes lingered, probing. Did he suspect? Nah, he was too vain. But as he laughed with the interns, I saw the flip in him. The man who mentored me now plotting my cage.
It fueled me.
That night, I tested the flip in a sandbox. Dummy data flooding the sim. Victor's digital ghost unraveling in real time. Beautiful.
Terrifying.
Monday loomed like a guillotine. The demo was set in the auditorium, rented from Stanford for that Ivy Sheen, 300 seats, live-streamed to 1,000 potential backers. I arrived early, nerves jangling like loose cables. Tech crew buzzed, projectors humming, the air thick with that pre-pitch perfume of ambition and fear. Victor was there, pacing in his custom Zegna, barking orders at the AV guy. He caught my eye, nodded, complicit or so he thought.
Knocking dej, kij.
I smiled, thin as a commit log. Oh, I will. As the clock ticked, I slipped into the green room. Final tweaks on my laptop. One last chance to bail. Call the board? Whistleblower hotlines. But those paths were cowards' alleys, anonymous tips that get buried in HR black holes. No, this was personal. American as apple pie and pitchforks. Take the swing. Damn the fallout. The house lights dimmed. Crowd murmur swelled. Victor took the stage, spotlight carving him like a statue of hubris. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future. The demo kicked off smooth as a Tesla on autopilot. Victor's voice boomed through the speakers, that practiced cadence blending folksy charm with tech bro swagger. Imagine a world where your portfolio doesn't just survive the storm, it dances in it. Slides flipped, market crashes averted, billions saved. The crowd, suits from Menlo Park, analysts with iPads at the ready, leaned in, hooked. I sat third row, laptop balanced on knees, heart slamming like a DDoS attack. My thumb hovered over the deploy key. One click, and the house of cards tumbled. Oracle's Viz engine purred to life, pulling live feeds from Bloomberg terminals. Victor cued the demo. Watch as our AI predicts the next dip, real-time, unerring. The big screen bloomed with graphs, lines spiking and dipping like a heartbeat on meth. He narrated, gesturing like a preacher at Burning Man. See that? Subprime echo from '08, neutralized before lunch. Applause rippled, polite at first, then building. My queue was buried in the load balancer. When queries hit 50 concurrent, the flip engaged. I watched the metrics climb. 40. 45. Victor glanced my way, a wink of triumph. Bastard thought it was his show. 52. The code whispered through the pipes, silent as a shadow ban. But instead of his crash, my payload bloomed. The graph stuttered, not a freeze, but a morph transaction logs overlaid the predictions, dates, amounts, routing numbers. Victor's face froze mid-sentence. And now for the wait. What the hell? The screen shifted. A heat map of siphoned funds, pulsing red over Cayman accounts. CTO Victor Kane, $247,000 diverted, Q2 2025. Gasps rippled through the auditorium. An investor in the front row, silver fox with a sequoia pin, half stood, squinting. Is this part of the pitch? Victor spun to the tech booth, eyes wild. Cut it. Reboot the goddamn server. But my backdoor was ironclad. He built it too well. The kill switch, now my Trojan horse. Chaos erupted like a kernel panic. Phones whipped out, cameras flashing. The live stream chat exploded. I could see it on my screen, hashtags birthing in real time. Apex scam Victor Kane exposed. Victor lunged for the podium mic, sweat beading on his forehead. This is a hack. Sabotage, someone's in the system. But the data kept flowing, relentless. Email chains, his voice memos plotting the short sell. One clip played unbidden. Remy takes the fall. Federal lockup for wire fraud. My name on the Jumbotron. The crowd turned, murmurs sharpening to accusations. I stood, slow, letting the spotlight catch me. Not planned, but the moment demanded it, raw, unscripted drama, Valley style. No hack, Victor. I said, voice steady over the din mic. Feedback squealed as an aide thrust one my way. Just truth serum. You built the poison. I just made it taste like justice. The room split. Some investors nodding, sensing the underdog arc. Others booing, loyal to the brand. A woman in pearls, Kleiner rep, yelled, who authorized this breach? Fair question.
Me.
All me. Security swarmed the stage, but Victor waved them off, face twisting from shock to fury. He grabbed my arm, gripped like a vice, whispering hot in my ear. You stupid bitch. You just nuked us all. Up close, I saw the cracks, the bloodshot eyes, the tremor in his jaw. Not the mastermind anymore, just a cornered rat. But here's where it got murky, the part that'd keep therapists in business. As the board chair stormed up, red-faced and bellowing for shutdowns, Victor's eyes flickered. Not just rage, but something broken. Regret? Nah, too late for that. Or was it? The fallout hit like a Category 5. Lights up, stream killed, but the damage was viral. By the time cops showed, SFPD white-collar unit, badges gleaming under the fluorescence, the tweet storm had crested 1 million impressions. Victor was cuffed on stage, protesting innocence in that lawyer speak he'd rehearsed in mirrors. Entrapment. She's the insider.
Me?
They Mirandized me too, but gentle, like I was the plucky whistleblower in a Lifetime movie. Handcuffs loose, ride to the station in the back of an unmarked cruiser, city lights smearing past like accusations. Interrogation room. Stale coffee. Two-way mirror fogged with my breath. Detective Ruiz, a no-nonsense Latina with a Giants mug, slid a legal pad my way. Talk, Carlo. You flipped the switch. I nodded, spilling it all. The cover-up, the overheard plot, the demo rewrite. No tears, just facts cold as server racks. She leaned back, scribbling. Kane's singing already. Says you coerced him into the skim. That true? Lies, of course, but slimy enough to stick. Victor, the flipper, loyal mentor one breath, desperate accuser the next. It's so doubt, made me question my own tells. Had I pushed him?
Nah.
But in the gray zones of ambition, who knew? Bail hearing next morning, circus outside the courthouse, reporters shoving mics like it was Oscar night. My public defender, overworked kid from Oakland, argued whistleblower protections. The DA countered with conspiracy. Judge split the difference. House arrest for me, full lockdown for Victor. Back in Mountain View, ankle monitor buzzing like a guilty conscience, I crashed on my futon, the weight of it all pressing down. Apex imploded. Stock halted. Layoffs texted at dawn. 200 jobs vaporized. Dreams deferred to ramen and Indeed scrolls. My fault? His? Ours? The internet split factions. Team Remy trending with memes of me as Aaron Brockovich 2.0, countered by Save Apex threads calling me a vengeful harpy who'd tanked innovation for spite. Victor lawyered up fast. Some K-Street shark who spun narratives like cotton candy. First flip. Victim card, claiming I seduced him into the fraud. Classic bro playbook, painting me as the temptress in code. Tabloids ate it. Tech sirens sink ship. I laughed, bitter, scrolling from my monitored couch. But the second flip gutted me. Leaked docs, his doing no doubt, showed emails where I'd greenlit the ledger tweaks. Eager to help. One read, my words twisted into complicity. Suddenly, the whistleblower glow dimmed. Forums buzzed with she knew. They both did. Polarizing, yeah, the kind of mess that turns dinner parties into debates. Weeks blurred. Therapy sessions via Zoom, company perk, ironic, freelance gigs scraping by on Upwork. The SEC probe dragged, depositions in sterile conference rooms where Victor's eyes met mine across the table, cold, calculating, plotting his third flip. He looked gaunt, the polish stripped, but that smirk lingered. Remy, he said during a break, voice low. We could settle this. Offshore nest egg, split 50-50. Walk away kings. Temptation slithered in easy out beach in Belize, sins laundered like his funds. But I saw the hook, testify against me, flip again when the heat eased. Rot, I whispered back. You taught me that. The climax brewed in a hearing room downtown, air thick with recycled ambition. Victor's team moved to dismiss charges against him, pinning it all on me, the rogue coder with a grudge. My lawyer countered with the demo logs, but the judge eyed me skeptical. Ms. Harlow, your actions saved the investors millions, but at what cost? 200 livelihoods. Boom. The split laid bare. Hero or destroyer. I testified, voice cracking for the first time. The betrayal, the fear, the rage that birthed the flip. Jurors, tech-adjacent folks from the burbs, shifted, torn. Victor took the stand last, a masterclass in moxie. She was my protege, he lied smooth. I covered for her mistakes, not the other way around. Gasps, my gut twisting. The flip that stuck the knife. He produced a forged Slack thread, me begging for the skim to fund my startup side hustle. Doctored but slick, timestamps aligned, emojis in my style. The room tilted. His eyes locked on mine. Not triumph, but a plea? Buried deep, yeah, the secret he'd chanted that night. But as the gavel loomed, doubt flooded. Was it all a setup from jump? Or had Victor flipped because he had to, protecting Apex from a bigger wolf, using me as shield? Paranoia, maybe, but the fracture line showed. No one's hands clean in the valley grind. Verdict day dawned gray, bay fog choking the sun like unspoken regrets. Courthouse steps swarmed, protesters with signs. Justice for Apex workers. Clashing with my ragtag supporters, hoodies chanting, flip the script. Inside, the jury filed in, faces unreadable as encrypted payloads. I'd lost sleep tallying odds, 60-40 against, my lawyer's whisper. Victor sat across the aisle, composed in his Tom Ford, but I caught the tick. Thumb rubbing forefinger, his tell for bluffing a bad hand. We'd built this circus together, him the ringmaster, me the unwilling clown. Now, the lions circled us both. The foreman stood, voice flat. On count of wire fraud, we find the defendant, Remy Harlow. Not guilty. Murmurs exploded, relief flooding me like a memory leak cleared. But the kicker, on conspiracy to defraud. Guilty. Victor's turn. The room held breath. Not guilty. His shark grinned. Mine deflated. The flip landed soft for him. Jury bought the protege spin, saw me as the vengeful architect.
Me?
Probation. Restitution to Apex's ghost. 50 grand I didn't have. Payable in code gigs for nonprofits. Victor? Walked free. Charges dropped on a technicality. Statute on the skim expired. Thanks to his delays. Technicality. My ass, another scheming dodge. Outside, chaos reigned. Reporters mobbed, flashes popping like gunfire. Victor slipped his team, pausing at the doors. Remy, he called, voice carrying over the din. I turned, ankle monitor a phantom itch. Drinks? For old times? The offer hung, controversial as a backdoor deal. Truce or trap. Supporters jeered. A water bottle sailed past his head. I laughed sharp. By your own poison now. Walked away, the crowd parting like a bad commit. Freedom tasted like ash. Back in the shoebox, I cracked a beer, Anchor Steam, Valley Staple, and scrolled the wreckage. Apex dissolved in bankruptcy court, assets carved up by vultures. Victor? Landed soft at a Phoenix incubator, consulting on ethics in AI. Irony, thy name is tech. The twist hit via email, anonymous sender. You almost had it all. Attachment, a PDF, scanned memos from year one. Victor hadn't hired me blind. He targeted me, dug my Fresno roots, the single mom who'd OD'd leaving me to foster roulette. Vulnerable profile. One note read, ideal for leverage. The betrayal deepened. Not just fall guy, but engineered pawn from the jump. Rage rebooted, but muted now. I hit the pavement, literally, pounding trails in Rancho San Antonio, redwoods whispering sanity. Therapy unpacked it. The buried secret wasn't just funds, but Victor's war. Memos revealed he'd skimmed to fund a whistleblower suit against our seed funder, a cartel-tied VC siphoning narco-laundered cash into startups. Protect the dream, his private journal rambled. Harlow covers the tracks, she never knows the why. Heroic delusion? Or sociopath's alibi? He'd flipped the fraud into a shield, dooming me to bear the sin. Controversial as hell, my revenge exposed a monster, but maybe shielded innocence from worse. The real climax unfolded 6 months post-verdict at a nondescript brewpub in San Jose. I'd clawed freelance stability, contracting for eco-apps, keeping the lights on. Victor texted, 1 drink. Closure. Against better angels, I went. He waited in a booth, older, edges frayed, no smirk, just weariness. You win, he said, sliding a check, 50 grand, restitution squared. For the mess. I pocketed it silent. Then the pour. It wasn't spite, Remy. The VC, Los Chapas money. I skimmed to bait the feds, frame them clean. You were the firewall. Bullshit meter spiked, but docs on his phone, redacted FBI chats, lent credence. He'd flipped the skim into a sting, but botched the demo to cash out quick, fear overriding the long game. I protected you, he lied soft. Till you flipped me. The room spun. Villain or flawed knight. My choices, burying code, unleashing the demo, had polarized it all. No heroes, just survivors clawing the dream. I stood, check crisp in pocket. Protected? You built me to break. Door chime as I left, his face in the glass. Haunted, human. Debate fodder. Forgive the flipper who flipped for good? Or burn the bridge. Let karma compile? Life recompiled uneven. I launched Rogue Byte, a microfirm auditing corporate sins. Whistleblower tech. Ironic badge of honor. Dates flickered. Awkward with a barista who geeked on my TEDx talk, but trust lagged, a buffer overflow. Victor vanished stateside. Rumors of Belize exile. The twist lingered. That anonymous email? Traced his IP. A final flip. Truth bomb or guilt's confessional. One night, code glowing, I pondered the hook. 3 sentences that birthed the storm. Poison code. Flipped demo. Changed everything. Socking?
Yeah.
Controversial? In spades.
Wem?
Like the valley fog, thick, unyielding. And me? Remy Harlow, scarred architect of my revenge. Right or wrong? You decide. The cursor blinks, waiting. But wait. There's the echo. A ping, new contract. Apex remnants hiring for ethics overhaul. Victor's signature on the RFP. The game's never done. Just another flip. The contract from Apex's Phoenix, call it Apex 2.0, rebranded under a faceless holding co., sat like a live wire in my inbox. Lead auditor. Implement transparency protocols. Compensation. 6 figures, equity vest. Signatures blurred at the bottom, but there it was. V. Kane, advisor. The man who'd engineered my cage now dangled a key, wrapped in velvet. Closure? Or the ultimate flip, reeling me back into the nest? I paced my one bed in Oakland now, traded Mountain View for grit, closer to the pulse, debating over cold Thai takeout. Accept, and I'd audit the sins I'd helped bury, decline, and let the cycle spin without me. American dream, twisted. Revenge as career pivot. I signed. Not for him, for the 200 ghosts, the coders now gigging DoorDash in the gig economy I'd helped crater. First day, sterile office in Oakland's warehouse district, exposed brick masking the scars. Team assembled, fresh faces, wary of the legend. You're her, one whispered, the demo whistleblower. I nodded, owning it. And now I'm the broom. Dives into ledgers, code audits uncovering not Victor's ghosts, but fresher rot. The holding co skimming setup fees, execs padding reimburses. Small potatoes, but patterns screamed familiarity. Victor showed week 2, consulting, in a gray suit that hung loose. Coffee run, espresso, black his ritual. Proud of you, he said, steam curling like lies. Building from the rubble. I sipped, probing. Why me? After the flip, his eyes drifted to the mural outside. Graffiti of Phoenix rising, ironic. Redemption arc. You exposed me. Now I expose myself. The VC sting? Half true. Feds closed it last year. Chapos busted, clean win. But the demo? That was panic. My debt's real. The short sell my out.
Confessin hum, saw.
No smirk, just a man unspooling. The murky heart. He'd flipped the fraud for vigilante justice, but when the net closed, self-preservation kicked in.
Me?
The sin-bearer, gagging on his greater good. Controversial calculus. Ends justify means? In boardrooms, sure. In bedrooms, therapy bills stack. We toured the floor, him nodding at my protocols. Blockchain ledgers, AI watchdogs sniffing anomalies. Ironclad, he murmured. But as we paused at my desk, he dropped the bomb. One more secret, Remy. The memos, your profile? Not targeting. Protecting. Your mom? I knew her, Fresno days. She OD'd on bad product from that VC's pharma arm. Hired you to strike back. World tilted. Mom. Hazy memory of track marks and lullabies. Tied to the same wolves? Victor's eyes softened. A father's ghost. You were the weapon I never swung. Till you did. The twist knifed deep, betrayal layered with buried love, revenge birthed from shared grave. Hero? Villain? Or just two grifters in the grind? I excused, locked in the bathroom, breaths ragged. Polarizing peak, no clean sides, just the ache of what-ifs. Apex 2.0 hummed under my broom, but fissures cracked. Anomalies in the new code, subtle, Victor's style, padded hours funneled to a charity that traced to his ex-old habits. I confronted, quiet in the break room over vending chips. Flipping again? He sighed, deflated. One last skim for her chemo. Clean now, I swear. Lie or lifeline? The decision loomed, controversial fork. Expose and orphan another dream. Cover and stain my hands anew. Night run through Jack London Square. Fog off the estuary mirroring my fog. Phone buzzed. Ruiz, the detective. Kane's file reopened. Tip on a new skim. Your call? The circle closed. Back home, laptop open, I drafted the report. Full disclosure, his final flip immortalized. But sleep evaded, ghosts whispering. Mercy for the merciful? Or justice blind? Dawn broke, decision crystallized. I hit send, not the full nuke, but a scalpel. Flagged the anomaly, anonymous to the board, with a trail leading to Victor's charity. Enough to audit him out, save the firm without torching it. His text came noon, saw the flag. Fair play. Bali calls, real this time. No rage, just ellipsis. The flip accepted. Months stacked. Apex stabilized, my equity vesting like trust rebuilt. Rogue Bite thrived, side hustle to empire. Dates bloomed, a sysadmin with laugh lines, no skeletons. But the hook echoed, that poisoned code, the demo dawn, the everything changer. Shocking still. Me, the lapdog turned alpha. Controversial? Forums raged on. Remy, savior or saboteur? Tension lingered in quiet hours, the weight of sins born and shed. Final twist? A package, unmarked, USB drive, Victor's scrawl. For the full compile. Files inside. Unredacted sting docs, my mom's photo. Young, fierce, arm in arm with a younger him. She chose the fight. You finished it. Debate eternal. Love's long con or closure's gift. I archived it, cursor blinking on a blank page. New story brewing, not revenge, but reckoning. The valley spins on, flips infinite.
Me?
I code the next line. And if you ask was it worth it, the betrayals bite, the flips fallout, I'd say yeah. In America's grind, sometimes you gotta poison the well to drink clean. Or maybe that's just the scar talking. Your call.